I met Chris Dungy in a directory that came from Strings magazine, and it listed all the different makers and luthiers around the country. Well, he caught my eye for two reasons. One is he was in Colorado, and the other was because he only builds cellos. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because I have this cello sound, this cello voice in my head all these years that is a really big, full, it's like this big kind of muscular cello sound. And I'd always heard that and never found one. And I thought, well, maybe, just maybe. So I called Chris up, and he said, I just strung up a cello like 2 days ago. You'll be the second person to play it, and you should come over to the workshop and check it out. And I did, and that was the voice. From when I sat down and played that cello, I had goosebumps and tears, and it's like, I found it.
As a musician, you're always looking for your voice, and your instrument, whether that's a guitar or a cello, that becomes your voice. The whole process of deciding, who, first of all, who the builder's going to be. In this case, Bo Hannum, he's from Sydney, Australia, and I saw his work, and then I played one of his instruments, and they blew me away. And he's not only a wonderful guitar builder, but he's also an artisan, so he's every facet of the guitar, you just look at it and it's flawless and it's perfect. So, the odds that now 10 minutes away is a world-class guitar builder from a world-class cello builder, that they've now been able to collaborate on this project to make sure the woods are correct, to make sure that the colors are going to wind up being the same on the instruments when they're finished. It's just an incredible set of coincidences.
We were here in Grand Junction giving a concert through Chris, and Chris said, there's something I got to show you. And he took us down to his wood room and showed us, and I recognized this tree, and he said, that's the same tree as your original Phoenix.
So the leftover pieces that Chris had from the top and back and side were enough wood to build a guitar. So not only is the guitar from the same tree as the cello, it's literally from the same chunk of wood. So they're going to share the same DNA. Now, that's just cool, and we have no idea ultimately what the sounds will be until we actually play the instruments.
The cello and the wood and these trees, I have such a strong connection, and I just keep thinking of the story of how there's, these trees were just standing in their own habitat for all those decades. And then, when Chris cut down the tree that is the top of these instruments years ago, probably in the tree's mind, I was like, well, that's it, here I go, end of my story. Well, then through these instruments are going to live easily 300 years. I'm only the first chapter of my cello's life. Yeah, waiting for an instrument like this is just so exciting, and seeing each part of it, the scroll get carved and come to life. It's like, that's all going to be the piece of it. And then playing it for the first time is really the culmination, because that's when you finally get to hear what your voice is going to be for the next however long you can play. That's amazing. And I just think it's magic. It's pure magic. I mean, the first post that we did on Facebook said, we're expecting. And it actually feels like that in a crazy way, because it's lovely. It's a short gestation, and there's really no pain for me.
But you still never know until the instrument's done and you have it in your hand what it's going to sound like. And even then, it takes years for an instrument to find its voice.
Everything from the relationship to the tree, the relationship to the luthiers, Joe's and my relationship as musicians, and then what has become our life in our love because of that growing out of the music as well. We already feel like we just get to live this life that is beyond what we knew to dream about before. And so upon delivery of the instruments, we're going to go into a creative retreat and finish writing the music for this next CD with the instruments on our hands, because there will be music that we won't know is there until we're fingers on those strings.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Acoustic Eidolon.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. So these are the instruments. These are the ones we've taken delivery of and managed to do the CD as well. So it's very exciting. And we've been so excited to come here and share them with you. 5 nights ago, we were actually on the stage in Germany. So we've been through a lot of time zones and languages in the last week, but we are thrilled to be back. And now the tree would like to sing to you. my rings, and now you've learned in 43 a forest burned. Beside my roots a river flowed, my branches reached and turned to gold. You cut me down to hear my voice, from trunk to scroll I had no choice. But now I'm living through hollow curves, roots to strings, now I'm heard. I'm like a phoenix, strumming chords upon the sun, setting fire to the part of you that feels the drum. And now I'm singing with fingers on steel, heartbeats on wood, making me real. Carved I dance as if we're one, my melodies you've not yet sung. I'm the cry down in your bones, whispering with silken tones. And I'm the words you cannot say, the voice you heard, don't turn away. You and I, we are free. You're the song, I'm the tree. I'm like a phoenix, strumming chords upon the sun, setting fire to the part of you that feels the drum. And now I'm singing with fingers on steel, heartbeats on wood, making me real. I'm the cry down in your bones, whispering with silken tones. Beside my roots a river flows, my branches reach and turn to gold.
So much.
Thank you so much. And tonight, we're really excited because one of the makers is here in the audience. And so you get to meet a maker, which is cool, right? And we're all still okay, so that's also cool. But Chris Dungy came over from Grand Junction, so I'm
extraordinary.
calling in a big favor and saying, Chris, will you please stand
Where's
up
Chris?
so we can thank you
go,
for all
Chris.
you do.
Don't be so shy, Chris.
Thank you.
So-
It is. It's an amazing thing, like we said in the film, this whole relationship and how all these elements tie together in life and the ways that our lives tie together as a result. So we're really grateful for you, Chris, in case you haven't seen.
So we're going to do a tune now for you. This is from our Lucky Man CD. This is a Beatles number that I really wanted to put on that CD. This is our rendition of While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
We'd like to sing a song for you now, and this is because I think a lot of us, somewhere along our life's journey, we've bonded with a house. And I bonded early on with my grandparents' house. And I grew up in Champaign, Illinois, in the middle of the prairie. But my grandparents lived in Easton, Pennsylvania, which is on the New Jersey border, and it's where the rivers come together there. And so my grandparents, the house sits about a block and a half from the Crayola factory as well. So if you've ever wondered where crayons come from, now you know. The Acoustic Eidolon trivia. And my grandparents were both full-time musicians in this house. And my grandfather invented instruments and is actually in the Steel Guitar Hall of Fame for his inventions. And then he also composed music and taught. And my grandmother actually taught guitar in that house until she was 90. And then she retired. Took a few years off. And my dad was raised in that house to be a classical and a jazz pianist. And so there were tons of decades of music in that house. Not tons of decades of music from that part of the family and growing up. And Joe and I were staying in the house a few years back, and it wound up being around the time that, as a family, collectively, we had decided that it was time to let the house go and put it up for sale. And as it turned out, that weekend that we were there, it went under contract. And so we realized that we had to help the house write its song. And so this is the house singing its song, and it's singing it to my dad, who is actually also with us here tonight. And so, Dad and Melissa, yeah. So this one's for you guys.
What's the name of it?
It's called 75 North 2nd Street. And I said it in English, and that's a good thing. I've stood here 200 years and held each of your lives. My four walls surround you night after night. My laughter is silent, but I echo with your talk. Doorways telling stories, stairways that can walk. Your father's hands were never still, creating every day. Instruments and music, and teaching how to play. Your mother's smile still radiates through dust and sunlit beams. Shelves and shelves of their life work, I held them all those years. And as the years roll by, my roof has kept you dry. I'm the shelter from the storms, and my glory will not fade. This family we made, you're the beating of my heart. I watched you walk away to ride a bus to school, with a backpack and lunch pail, crayons as your tools. At night you played piano, filled my rooms with your soul. Chopin, Brahms, and Beethoven, their stories you told. And as the years roll by, my roof has kept you dry. I'm the shelter from the storms, and my glory will not fade. This family we made, you're the beating of my heart. I taught you a foundation can crack and still be strong. Banisters are boundaries, but the world can still go wrong. window seats that held your tears when it rained from within, shelves of creativity, then dust settled in. Plaster cracks like wrinkles tell my story over time. Cupboards painted by aging hands, their silence is mine. I creaked with your laughter, held my breath when you cried. I played the silence in the melodies of your life, and now a new family plays across my floor. 75 North 2nd Street, still nailed above my door. 200 years I've been here, and 100 more I'll stand. 4 walls and a lot of soul, generations in my hands. And as the years roll by, my roof has kept you dry. I'm the shelter from the storms, and my glory will not fade. This family remain. You're the beating of my heart. You're still the beating of my heart.
So, a while back, Hannah and I were driving around out in the middle of nowhere in New Mexico. And there was this car coming at us, and as it went by, we noticed it was this old beat-up wreck of a car. And it was towing another old beat-up wreck of a car. A few minutes went by, and a minivan came by towing another old minivan. It was the strangest thing, but this went on for a good 30, 40 minutes, just cars after cars. And finally I looked over at Hannah and I said, you know, that's my life story right there. One old wreck towing another. Well, thinking about this, I began to realize how this is actually a perfect metaphor for my early years, way before I met Hannah. And I have an interesting history with cars. I was actually born in a car on the corner of East Colfax and Peoria. It was 56 DeSoto, I think, I remember. And I owned 8 cars from the age of 16 to 25. My first car was a 61 Chevy Biscayne. It had a short in the steering wheel, so every time I'd make a left-hand turn, the horn would honk. Just like that. Had a yellow VW Bug with a prolific gas leak, so I'd carry a little coffee can with me everywhere I'd go. When I'd stop, I'd put the can under the leak. When I'd come back, I'd pour the gas back in, and away I'd go. But my favorite car was actually an old Volvo wagon, and it was my favorite because it wouldn't start unless the passenger would lift their butt off the seat. I'm serious. Imagine explaining that on a first date. Anyway, this is a tune I wrote about all those old cars. This is One Old Wreck. I got the first car when I was 16, a rusty old Chevy, a seafoam green. Up on blocks, no battery, did not matter, was a Cadillac to me. I was one old wreck towing another. A lot of baggage and back just waiting to be discovered. Living on the edge, into the curves, what a thrill. Doing my best not to become roadkill. She was sweet 16 and built real nice. 4 on the floor with bright headlights. She was so much better than my old scooter, a 66 Plymouth Barracuda. Every once in a while, to get her to go farther, had to take out my hammer and smack her on the starter. I was one old wreck towing another. A lot of baggage and back just waiting to be discovered. Living on the edge, into the curves, what a thrill. Doing my best not to become roadkill. Pick it, Joe, okay? I had an old Volvo, was pretty sweet. Would not start till the passenger would lift their butt off the seat. So I called Click and Clack and asked what should I do. They said just relax, enjoy the rear view. I was one old wreck towing another. A lot of baggage and baggages waiting to be discovered. Living on the edge, end of the curves, what a thrill. Doing my best not to become, doing my best to have a little fun. I'm a middle-aged man in my new minivan, doing my best not to become roadkill.
So I'm going to switch cellos because this is Phoenix cello, and thank you. She says thank you to her 2 fans. That's awesome. But Phoenix is the cello that was my original Dungy cello, and then many of you actually here at the Rialto stage were here when Chris did the rebuild of Phoenix after she was maimed by an airline accident that was United.
Destroyed by United Airlines.
Yeah. Yeah, there was that. No, we're not bitter. And yes, we wrote a song.
Maimed. It was a mere flesh wound or something.
Yeah,
like
it was a
that.
pretty big flesh wound, and so he had to completely rebuild, and that was when I started this ongoing relationship with the tree, and so anyway, she's very proud to be a big sister these days, and so she wanted to kind of come and show her support. But I'm going to play this next piece on her because I wrote this piece on Phoenix. And this is actually one that was inspired by this last year of our life, but it had nothing to do with trees or instruments or any of that. It had to do with my son, Zach. And so in the last year, well, actually just recently, he just turned 20. And that's a little hard for me to believe. But a year ago, when he had turned 19, we had this date on our calendar, and it was the day that he was moving out to move into his dorm room. And so there we were, that date came, and out of all those other dates, and having had 18 years with this and 19 years with this being on the same path as mine with me, all of a sudden, we moved him into his dorm, and that was it. He had his path, and my path was still over here. And so that was just such a powerful experience for me, and exciting, and hard and sad. I mean, it's like everything, right? And so we found ourselves in that place that we'd always heard about, the empty nest syndrome. And so...
Just kidding, Zach. I forgot he was here.
You're only supposed to do that. Show Zach isn't here. No, just kidding. But it is, isn't it? It's like all of those emotions all kind of wadded into the same place. And so I had to write a piece of music. And so this is the song that I wrote for Zach. And it's called About Having His Path. And it's called The Journey from Water to Sky. Thank you very much. So we'd like to sing you another song from the new CD, and this is one that we had to put on there. It's been a favorite of ours for years, and it's a Joni Mitchell tune. It's her Both Sides Now. And we were in the final stages of the CD, like the last day before we finished and mastered the CD, and we were hanging out with some Canadian friends of ours, and they said, "You've heard this version in French, right?" And no, we had not. And so we looked at each other and went back into the studio and put a little bit of it in French because it was just lovely. The reason I'm telling you this is because, you're welcome to sing along with me. But when we get to the second verse, hang on. Good luck. Rows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feather canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's clouds illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. J'ai voulu laisser mon cœur danser la danse du bonheur. J'ai cru que l'amour était né dans un conte de fées. Mais aujourd'hui, je sais qu'il faut souvent quitter un lit trop chaud en souriant pour bien cacher tout ce qu'on a donné. J'ai vu l'amour des deux côtés, ces jours de gloire, de vérité, et c'est bien triste de penser que je n'ai rien and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds, I've looked at life that way. But now old friends are acting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed. Something's lost, but something's gained in living every day. I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life. J'ai vu la vie des deux côtés, ces jours de gloire, de vérité, et c'est bien triste de penser que je n'ai rien appris du tout.
Right. So I'm going to do a little Christmas tune. Is that okay if we do a Christmas song? Well, we have to do at least one here this evening, and this is the one. So this is actually, we have 2 Christmas recordings out, and this is from our second one, our Winter's Call recording. And it's our take on We Three Kings. little upset because when I bought this guitar, had it built, it was in tune. And
Yeah, actually, this cello too.
so we're going to do one more tune and then take an intermission. And during the intermission, I don't know if you noticed, there's a whole Acoustic Eidolon mini mall out there. Mini mall, yeah.
We've
You know, there's only
expanded.
like, 20 shopping days left till Christmas. So if you're enjoying the music, we invite you to check out all 12 of our CDs and our DVD. And so we're going to leave you with a tune from the new recording. And this is actually a song by Queen. And you look like the audience that would remember Queen. Yeah. And, you know, we thought long and hard and worked really hard this summer to put this together. This was originally written by Freddie Mercury and recorded with a full band and 20 vocalists and all this. But we're going to attempt to do it on 10 strings for you this evening. This is our rendition of Bohemian Rhapsody. And, yeah, there's a lot of notes, and we're going to play all of them on this one. So.
Good luck.
We'll be back in 15 or so minutes to play some more music for you. Good luck. All right, welcome back, everybody. And yeah, we're going to, there's a lot of new folks here tonight, so I want to take a moment and explain to you what separates Hannah and myself from all the other guitar-cello duos you see these days out there. Yeah, there's proliferation of them. Is that a word? Gaelic. Anyway, it's these guitars that I'm playing. These double neck acoustics are instruments that I designed and had custom built. This is the original one I had built here in Colorado in '91. I call these my 14-string double neck Gitjos. They've also become affectionately known around the world, actually, as dos neckis. And I grew up playing 5-string bluegrass banjo as well as guitar, so I went to the guitar builder, and I said, I want a guitar with 2 necks. I would like the bottom neck strung like a 5-string banjo with 2 additional treble or melody strings for a total of 7 strings on that neck. And then on the upper neck here, it's strung like a regular guitar, but with an extra bass string for its 7th string. And then I've developed this technique over the years where I play both necks at the same time. Well, I do that by playing melody notes with my right hand on the bottom strings. And then, while that hand's doing melody, I use my left hand to pick bass notes and chords on these strings. I can actually pick, or wherever I hammer, I can make those notes sound. So bass notes and chords with my left, melody with my right. It's like 2 guitar players in one, and a lot cheaper to travel this way as well. So we're going to feature both of these instruments on this next piece. This is on the new CD. We wanted to do an instrumental rendition of both the O Shenandoah and what's the other one? The Water is Wide. I should know these so I can play them. Good luck. So anyway, here we go. You good?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm going to do another one here from the new CD, and this is a tune that I sure wish I would have written this song. When I first heard it, I thought, my goodness, that's exactly how I feel. And so I thought, well, I didn't write it, but we can cover it. So this is a wonderful tune tonight by Daryl Scott. It's a piece called You're Everything I Wanted Love to Be. And tonight we're going to dedicate this to a couple out there that's celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. And that's Eileen and Larry Huddle. Yes. We sure appreciate your support over the years. So hopefully you'll enjoy.
If anyone has earned this song, it would be you, Larry and Eileen. So you're our heroes.
There's a sadness, and I've heard it in the breeze. There's a sorrow in the falling of the leaves. There's an emptiness when you live your life alone. I'm so glad my lonely days and nights are gone.
Now and then, someone special comes along. Now and then, someone brings your life a song. Now it's love I'm hearing in the morning breeze. You're everything I wanted love to be. And I'll love you to the closing of our days. And yes, I'll need you through the valleys and the shadows and the highways. And we'll put our feet upon the path of life and its byways. And in the morning, when I wake up by your side, in the evenings, as we stand the test of time, every hour that you're with me, I can't see. You're everything I wanted love to be. And I'll love you till the closing of our days. And yes, I'll need you through the valleys and the shadows and the highways. And we'll put our feet upon the path of life and its byways. And in the morning, when I wake up by your side, in the evenings, as we stand against the tides, every hour that you're with me, I can see. You're everything I wanted love to be. Yes, you're everything I wanted love to be. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we'd like to take you now back into my musical roots because I was classically trained with the cello and play you a classical piece. And this is one, I always grew up believing that the cello was the closest instrument to the human voice. And when I first got to actually, learn how to play this piece years ago, that sealed the deal for me. I thought, that's it. It is definitely the closest instrument to the human voice. And I studied with a Hungarian cellist, and he had always told me, Hannah, listen to the singers and phrase like the singers do. And so I can honestly tell you that I've never sung this song. I've only played it on the cello. But it's our rendition of Schubert's Ave Maria.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm want to sing a song for you now that I was inspired to write after taking an exit off the highway in Denver, and you just never know where inspiration's going to come from. But yeah, I'd taken the exit, and I was sitting there at the stoplight, and I looked over and I noticed there was this gentleman sitting there and sitting on a large concrete large concrete slab, and on his lap he had a really big Bible. And on the Bible, he was very carefully counting the stacks of change that he had collected so far that day. And there was something about this gentleman in this image that was very intriguing to me. And the light turned green and I had to go. But I couldn't stop thinking about this gentleman for the longest time. And finally I thought, I'm going to write a song for him. So this is a song I wrote for someone I never met, don't know his name. But this is a song I wrote for Billy Ray.
And after Joe made up his name and made up his story and wrote the song, we released the song on our Ancient Lovers CD. And about 5 months later, we started getting all these emails from various fans all over the U.S., and they were all telling us the same story about a homeless gentleman in Kansas City. And he had been out collecting change, and this woman had pulled up in her car and just dumped a cup of change into his cup and then drove away. Didn't think about it. Well, when she got home that night, she realized that her engagement ring had been in that cup, and it was a family heirloom and very valuable, and can you imagine? So she went back the next day to see if she could find him, and she did. He was in the same place. And so she just went up to him and said, "Did you happen to find anything unusual in your cup yesterday?" And the man said, "Oh, this ring, this must be yours," and gave it back to her. And so she got to talking with him, and it turned out that at the end of his day, the day before, the man had actually taken her ring to a pawn shop, thinking it was just costume jewelry that someone had tossed in. And the man at the pawn shop had offered him $4,000 on the spot for the ring, which honestly he probably could have used, but instead he realized it was valuable, and he took it back and said, "No, thank you," and said he went to the same place the next day, hoping that whoever it was would realize in time and be able to find him. And so after that, this woman and her husband were just like, okay, we have to do something as a really big thank you for this guy, for his integrity and honesty. And so they did. They started a website where they just posted that story of what had happened and tied it to PayPal, so people could read what happened, donate a couple bucks if they wanted, and they set a goal to raise $1,000 in 3 months' time. Well, by the time that website closed, they had actually raised $190,000, which was amazing. It just kind of struck a nerve and went a little viral. And so they've done a follow-up story on this gentleman, and he's no longer homeless and has found work and drives a used car, and because of the publicity, exactly. And because of the publicity of the story, he's actually wound up reconnecting with his family. I mean, it's a beautiful story. And these are actually photos of the man. And so you can Google it if you want to see more. But the reason we were getting all those emails is because this man's name is Billy Ray. And we just thought, wow, that's amazing.
And I saw a photo of the Kansas City Billy Ray, and he looked a lot like the gentleman I saw that day. I'm not sure that it was, but I like to think it's one and the same. So this is for Billy Ray. I see him there most every day. I think it's where he goes to pray for hours. Sitting on a concrete step, on his knees a Bible wept, no flowers. Billy Ray, seems you found a place to pray. By the side of the road is your shrine. Billy Ray, the sun came out today. Now you're warm, this is home, Billy Ray. He left home at 17. On the streets he learned to dream for hours. People, they just passed him by, careful not to catch his eye. Invisible, intolerable. Billy Ray, guess you found a place to pray. By the side of the road is your shrine. Billy Ray, the sun came out today. Now you're warm, this is home, Billy Ray. Salvation is a pickup truck, a roll down window in the cup you lead now. Angels fall down in the night like the rain, they're so damn bright. On his Bible counting change, stacks of silver seem so strange. Survival. The book is worn beyond belief. His faith is torn but still complete. He's hopeful, so hopeful. Billy Ray, now you found a place to pray. By the side of the road is your shrine. Billy Ray, the sun came out today. Now you're warm, this is home, Billy Ray.
Thank you very much. So we'd like to honor a request tonight and take you back to our Barefoot CD for a song now. And this is one that was just inspired by life itself and not our travels or places we'd seen or played. And it was actually inspired by two of the most difficult chapters in my own life. And the first was years ago when I was a teenager. My mom went through a battle with cancer that year, and she did not survive it. And so it left this hole that, you know, as you can imagine, reaches through the years, all the way to where I stand today. And the second difficult chapter was actually the first year of Acoustic Eidolon. Even though all these doors were opening and all these amazing things were happening, that was the year that I was diagnosed with cancer as well. And so it was a big battle after that for the rest of that year. And I have to say, it sounds crazy, but I am so strangely grateful for my battle, for that experience, because it left me in this place of permanent appreciation, and that gratitude just doesn't waver, and everything else in my life cycles through or ebbs and flows, and that just stays rock solid through the years, all these years later to where I am now. And it's I've just never found anything else in life that has left me there. And so that's why I think of it now as a gift that came in some kind of wonky wrapping paper. But this is a tribute song to my mom, because she was a wonderful mother and taught me so many things about living life as gracefully as possible and all these different things. And that meant that when I was a little girl and I was learning to play my little tiny half-sized cello, my mom was the one who said to me, "You know, Hannah, you should probably figure out how to do that with your mouth shut." And so, those memos that only your mom will tell you, they're kind of important. So I'm very glad that she got that one in.
Me too.
So this piece is called "The Shape of a Woman." You left in the evening, the leaves were falling. I looked deep in your The sky started crying and slowly turned to ice. Your hands, they held me, taught me and shaped me. Your laugh I hear still. Your eyes held my tears, your arms my dreams. Footsteps I tried to fill. I spent so many years trying to chase after love, years of empty moments. But the hole that I had, that I was trying to fill, was the shape of a woman, the shape of taught me to walk, then pushed me to fly. You gave me all that you knew, but the flight you intended, we never took. I wanted to fly next to you. I spent so many years trying to chase after love, years of empty moments. But the hole that I had, that I was trying to fill, is the shape of a woman, the shape of you, the shape of you. Maybe the rest of your life was written silent, so I would know that when life hurt too much and I thought I was breaking, it was time to let go. And deep in the night, I sit by my window. The mask I wear fades away. I go to the mirror, I look deep in your eyes. I see that your smile's here to stay. I spent so many years trying to chase after love, years of empty moments. But the hole that I had, that I was trying to fill, was the shape of a woman, the shape of. I spent so many years trying to chase after love, years of empty moments. But the hole that I had, that I was trying to fill, was the shape of a woman, the shape of you, the shape of you, shape of a woman, the shape of me. Thank you.
So
Thanks so much.
I think it's time for some Led Zeppelin, and yeah, is that okay? You guys remember Led Zeppelin? Okay. Well, we did record an instrumental rendition of one of their more sacred songs, and most people remember this as "Stairway to Heaven," and
But we're so grateful for you guys to come here every year and be able to spend an evening with you like this. It's just, it's the best. It really is still, I mean, just an absolute highlight out of all these wonderful things we get to do and all the places we get to go. Still, you guys are just so special because
yeah. This
you're
is
our
where it all
hometown
began.
crowd. I mean, this is, you know, We're family.
That's right.
It's just that way. And we, thanks. And we love when you email us or Facebook us or all those different ways that you get in touch, and we love knowing about things that connect with you or anything. And so part of that is that we would like to wish happy birthday to Loretta today. We found out from a little bird
She's
it
the
was
one
your
who
birthday.
requested Stairway to Heaven. I was shocked. I was just shocked.
There you go. But anyway, so just all those ways that thank you for your loyalty is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. Here we go. Thank you. Well, we got one more song for you, but we really want to thank a few folks, most notably the best sound man in Colorado and west of the Mississippi, Mr. Butch Haas. Thank you so much for your great work. And let's see, we want to thank tonight. I didn't want to let you guys know this at the beginning of the show because I didn't want you to be nervous, but we were videotaping this, so we want to thank the video crew here. Mr. Bill Decker, thank you so much for coming out and taping the show. Yeah. And a big,
And you guys looked marvelous. Don't
yeah,
worry about a thing.
you guys did really well tonight. You clapped on cue. It was very special. But anyway, and our on lights and a guy who travels with us sometime, Mr. Dennis Fisher, thank you so much. And our sales team, that's Nada Fisher and Kat Allen on CD sales. Who am I forgetting? Did I forget? Oh, Zach. Zach Domberger on graphics and photos and all that fun stuff. Checks in the mail, Zach. And, and a big thanks to all of you for coming out. And again, as Hannah was saying, sharing the evening with us. And we hope you have an awesome, safe holiday season. And we're home. We've been gone most from September through now, but we are home now for a month and a half, just doing a few more Colorado shows. Next Friday, we'll be in Swallow Hill at Denver. Tomorrow, we'll be doing 2 concerts down at the castle, at the Glen Erie Castle.
In Colorado Springs.
In Colorado Springs.
And we're doing that again on the 18th as well, so if you want to see a concert in a castle, that's a good one. It's a little closer than flying over the pond to, Germany or England or one of those places.
So, anyway, we'll leave you in Ireland. This is one of our original Celtic-inspired pieces. This is The Calling of the Moor. I am the one who climbed the mountain, I am the one who battled the sea. I am the one who tamed the thunder, now I call out to thee. You are the one who brings the dawn, you are the one who calms the sea. You are the one who gives me hope, and your touch has set me free.
He calls out to me, but I've been with the wind. My soul wanders free, still he calls me again. His strength it is vast, and his hand reaches far. Though my heart sings alone, still he calls me again.
I am the one who climbed the mountain, I am the one who battled the sea. I am the one who tamed the thunder, now I call out to thee. You are the one who brings the dawn, you are the one who calms the sea. You are the one who gives me hope, and your touch has set me free.
He calls out to me, but I blend with the wind. My soul wanders free, still he calls me again. His strength it is vast, and his hand reaches far. Though my heart sings alone, still he calls me again.
Al Kyer.
And Joe Scott.
Thank you. Well, we'd love to do one more. We came so far to play for you this evening. Let's see, I have an hour of tuning here and of retuning. So, and actually, I just realized we wanted to also, this whole journey with having the cello built and then the guitar built from the same pieces of wood was actually an idea that was born 1 year ago, actually, right after the Rialto concerts by a friend of ours, Mr. Kevin Rader, and he's here this evening. So Kevin, thank you for having such a wonderful idea that we could put into action. Yeah, so, but no more suggestions. That was a little pricey.
That's right.
Sorry. So at intermission, somebody was asking, what the heck does Eidolon mean? And I don't know, so I'll let Hannah tell you.
So Eidolon is a word that we actually found in our English dictionary years ago when we were just looking for inspiration for a name. And we found this word Eidolon, and it means ideal or visual image. And we thought, well, that's great. We just like the sound of the word. And honestly, we were thinking originally of having a Gaelic word or something cool like that, but Gaelic is really hard to say. So we made the right decision there to stick to an English word, Eidolon. And so we took it and trademarked it and named our first CD Eidolon. And then we found out that there was another Eidolon. It was a punk, thrash, heavy metal, like death metal kind of band out of Boston. And they were also called Eidolon. And what happened was, from the Rialto, we had a fan of ours, an older woman, order our CD online. And she was very proud of herself to do this, hip thing. Well, she got their CD. And she actually called us up on the telephone and said, "Are you guys okay?" Which was precious, but that was also how we found out about the other Eidolon. So at that point, we changed our name legally to Acoustic Eidolon so that there would be no confusion. And we figured if we were ever all in the same festival lineup, we'd come first.
Cool. Well, thanks again. We'd love to meet you all. We'll be out in the lobby, and if you would like your CD, if you choose to buy one signed, we would be honored to do that. So we'll see you in 3.5 minutes.
And then again next year, hopefully.
Right. Next year, yeah. First Friday and Saturday, right back here. Yeah.
Thank you. You're the best.
tame the thunder, now I call out to thee. You are the one who brings the dawn, you are the one who calms the sea. You are the one who gives me hope, and your touch has set me free.
He calls out to me, but I blend with the wind. My soul wanders free, still he calls me again. His strength it is vast, and his hand reaches far. Though my heart sings alone, still he calls me